So I don't know. We'll see, but it definitely, I think what's more concern, if there was any little bit of concern, would be just the timing of the game. Of that game, it's literally the week before Ohio State. So that's not a game that you want to go win, and and I'm sure these kids, you're looking forward. They already got that game in Columbus Circle. You can
Oh
feel
yeah.
it. Not nowadays you can feel it. You see you felt it all year, like the collision course. Now you're like, this is the month. We're here. You know what I'm saying? And now you're
Yep.
like, man, I don't even want to play. Let's just play now. And
Well, especially
y'all
the
be
way Ohio State looks today, I'm sure
yeah,
I'm sure Michigan
yeah,
wants to play him right now because they
yeah.
got
So,
pushed around by Northwestern. They ended up
but
obviously
that's the
winning the
thing.
game, but
Well,
man,
that's the thing, and I've said it. I know that people like the Knowles hire for a defensive coordinator for them, but in their defense, in terms of their physicality, doesn't look that different to me. I don't think that they have like fixed their rush defense. Are they better this year? I think they're better for
hmm
sure. I mean, I still don't think that that Michigan would not be able to do what they want to do offensively against Ohio State. Now, do I think that JJ would probably have to make more plays than K did last year to beat Ohio State? Yes. But I still think that Michigan can still win the physicality battle against them. And I think offensively, man, um, you know, they- they're, that you don't really, I mean, look, think about this. Northwestern held them to 21 points. And I'm watching the game, and I'm watching Northwestern find ways to, you know, eliminate the explosive plays by them. I'm like, hold on a second. If Northwestern can do that, then I know Michigan can.
well,
And no,
and
you're not
here's
going to
here's
stop them.
if I'm an Ohio State fan, what I'm gonna say is, well, there were 30-mile wind gusts, right? As far as the in the game, so they would say we basically only had half of the game where we could actually throw the ball because the wind was just so crazy.
Mhm.
But I mean, argument to that would be you should still score more than 21 points, even if you only had, you know what I mean, 50% of your
Northwestern has
offense.
one loss, man. One loss. I mean, one win.
One
Sorry,
win, yeah,
one win.
like
They're 1-7.
exactly.
They're
Well,
1-7. I don't
and
want to
that's
hear
the
that.
thing too. Because if you really think about last year's game, right, the game Michigan Ohio State, it wasn't like that game happened in a blizzard. I mean, it was snowing, but it wasn't. Folks, if you guys aren't a Lions fan, you may not know, but Dre, do you remember the Detroit Lions went to Philly and played the Eagles? It was LaShawn McCoy was still there, and it was I mean, there were, I think, 5 to 6 inches of snow on the ground. I mean, that was a game where everything is difficult. Everything was
Yes,
difficult.
yes.
The Michigan Ohio State game was not that
Robert
last
Johnson
year.
had the foot on the
Yes.
ground, had the whole
Yep.
snow in his whole face mask.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
He
yeah.
literally caught a ball and picks his head up and it's just he has a visor of just snow kind of packed in his face mask. But the game last year wasn't that, and Ohio State, for whatever reason, especially early on, just couldn't get anything going. And I'm like, okay, is it snowing or is it a torrential downpour? Because it seemed like Ohio State was playing in the rain, but Michigan was not. So I guess I say all that to say, listen, if you can't move the ball, if throwing the ball in perfect conditions is the only way you can be effective, you're not going to fare that well, in November playing in the Big Ten because everybody plays outside. And I mean, Dre, you've probably been outside today. This is probably as warm as we've seen it in a very long time in
It's
November.
been unseasonably warm this time.
Yes. I mean, it was like 59 degrees today. It was crazy.
It
Like
was
here,
75 2 days ago. It was like,
yes.
I
Like
mean,
this is crazy how warm it is. But in 3 weeks, it's not going to be this. It
oh
is
no.
absolutely not going to be this. It's going to be nasty. It's
Probably
going to be
snow. You just
ugly.
never
It's
know.
going to be
You never know.
cold. So that and I saw someone tweet something, and I'm pretty sure he's an Ohio State fan, but he just said that essentially what the no game should be played outside. Why bring the elements into the beauty pageant or something like that? And Corey had actually retweeted and basically put like, I wonder who this guy is a fan of, but he was an Ohio State fan. But yeah, so I think Michigan right now is built to beat Ohio State, especially the way that they are playing today.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're 3 weeks away, but they are. I just with the two headed monster of Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, and JJ with the added element of him being able to run and scramble and get a couple first downs with his legs is just it's very difficult to play against.
Yeah,
I mean, you look
exactly.
at the Alabama game today, right? Jaden Daniels and I think JJ's more athletic than he is, but nonetheless, like that, it's very difficult to play against that. Now, what I will say is JJ's got to do a better job of protecting himself. He did an awful
Exactly.
job of that today.
Yes.
There was
Yeah.
this, especially one of the plays on the sideline where it was, I mean, there's no yards left to gain. Just get out of bounds, and instead of just stepping out, he took another step in the field of play and got drilled.
Yeah.
He can't.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. He
You just
cannot
can't get them
do
back.
that.
You can't get them back, man. Like
No,
like
exactly,
you just hit, you get hit with one of those bad ones. It's gonna be you got and something happens. It's too late. So
exactly. So yeah,
he's been better overall, Des,
mhm,
but today he took a step back a little bit in terms of that.
yeah,
And I think part of it was, I think part of it was he was trying to do a little bit too much, and you could tell, and that's in the grand scheme of things I brought up earlier. Where I think a game like this was pretty important because things were not peachy key all around him, right? You have some guys banged up. Qualum's not himself. Looks like he's on the weather or something like that. Some of your playmakers out. No Roman Wilson. Schoolmaker got hurt early, and you were down. I think he was trying to do a little bit too much, extend the play, and that's part of being young, and learning. And I think that was probably why you saw a little bit more of that resurface today because he was uncomfortable. He couldn't just lean on the run game and being ahead of schedule and doing a safe thing. He had to take a couple risks. But within that, you had to be able to keep the uh, understanding of, we're not going to have any chance to come back and win if I get hurt. So, and there's a time and place. Look, if it's the last drive, and it's fourth down, 4th and 10, and you got to get a first down, and there's nobody open, then you got to do what you got to do,
yep.
right?
And you're
But
not sure where you're at on the field. Like I don't
right,
know if I'm close to getting it or not. I don't know.
I just got
But
to
at
keep
that
get as
point,
much as I can,
mm-hmm,
and leave it all on the field, right? I
yep.
get that, but when I think at that time it was a second quarter. This is before halftime. You got way too much football to play, so it's
And
not
this
worth
is
it.
Rutgers too. Like this is
Yeah,
not the game to get banged up. Like this is
yeah.
Rutgers. This
It's
is
not the
Ohio
game that you.
State. Yes, you put a shoulder down, you try to put it on them, but this is not that game. This isn't that.
Mhm. But fact of the matter is, it was good. He even took, I think, his last throw. He took a pretty decent hit, and it was funny. One thing I do like about this kid is that he tends to always have a smile on his face. Like you could tell he loves to play a game. That there is something I think unique about him in terms of his approach. And he has all the makers to be very, 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 very good, man. Very
Hmm.
good. I just think that he has to get a little bit more accurate with the football. And there have been times where he is, and his guys should drop the ball. You can't control that as a quarterback. But, it's the little things, right? It's, you have a receiver on the sideline, and, as opposed to putting it into the chest, you throw a little bit too high. And we see have to jump, but they're on the sideline, so now they don't have much room, to come back down. So it's the small things like that. He's not going to be perfect. No quarterback is. But when
Correct.
you're looking for ways he can get better, those are the things that would aid him and make him even better than he is.